All right, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Yes, the Amazon Santa came, so we're good for this winter. Um, is I've been working on the the drill rig, the derrick, whatever you want to call about it. It's unconventional what we're even proposing to do. It like not been done. It's not impossible. It's just not been done. And so the Derek that I have like mentally pictured or whatever like that. Um, I need somebody to build this thing. I mean, this ain't something you can build in your garage. This is like the very biggest of the land derrick companies like Atlas or whoever, the big ones. Um, this would challenge them, is what I'm trying to get at. Not physically challenge them, but technically challenge them. Is because it's a different way to go about um, poking a hole through the mantle of the earth. Uh, Conventional drills, they're a great big drill bit that displaces everything and pounds everything to dust and then blows it out through cutting medium um, like mud and cutting fluids and stuff like that. Then that cutting fluid in mud is spun through a centrifugal centrifuge to get the heavies out and allow the water to pass through the fluid back and then recirculate the fluid. Well, that's extremely like damaging, I guess, destructive to everything involved. Whether it's the pumps that are injecting it into the ground, the seals and the bearings of the stuff that are spinning the heavies out that separate it later. Everything is this is just hard. In convention, oh, these guys are something else. They're all saying hello at once, and it's probably my voice. They weren't crowing like this a minute ago. And in but is to how to say it. We've reached our limit for conventional boring and conventional drilling. Like as long as the ground is hard but not abrasive, like granite is hard as hell. But that's easier to drill in than something that's abrasive like basalt. The What I've proposed is to make a laser lance. Um, Take a conventional land rig, a conventional drill rig that can go 15, 20,000 feet deep. That's smashing through solid granite, blowing the chips out. Nothing abrasive, just, hard. But because it would have the ability for the hoist, the derrick to draw back on the derrick, somewhere around 500,000 pounds is what, the theoretical string would be for the laser lance. But it would allow you to to produce a borehole um, like anywhere within weeks, not months or a year. That's the difference, is the time frame and the cost. Like a conventional, let's back this up to 10,000 feet, because that's where conventional core drilling rigs tap out, is about that 10,000 foot. And that's a monstrous multi-million dollar rig, $4 or $5 million rig to get to that depth. Well, to do the land-based rig with a half million pound drawback to hold up that string, to hold up the stem, you're talking development, because the stem itself has to be designed. It's no longer going to be rotational. It'll just be static, but it'll be the umbilical cord, the artery that'll provide the air to wash off, to keep the lenses clean. The fiber optics would be embedded into the casing itself or into the stem itself. To protect it is the fiber optics bundles, is what I'm trying to get at. Um, just different things like that is what I'm trying to get at. The the collars, the connectors would all have to be like one off. This stem wouldn't work in any other machine. It's specifically made for this rig, in enough to go down, 10, 15, 20,000 feet deep, or deeper if you need it. This would be easily. This is the answer to that Kola borehole, where they tapped out because they just couldn't keep the tool down hole cool enough to continue to drill. They would drill a few feet, and then it would take a week or more to trip the steel, pull it all up, replace the tool, go back down, and then drill a few more feet, and then trip the steel again. This fixes that, is what it is. The laser, the lance would go down, and it would stay down. Inside would be hollow like an annular cutter, like a plug cutter, where it's taken the core through the center, and then a shuttle would go down, and then snap the core off like in 20-foot segments and pull it topside. But this is like, how to say it? Is it like science fiction? No, it's not science fiction at all. But has it been done? No, it's not either. In just overcoming some of the hurdles, and that's why I'm just kicking this out here to share it. That's what I'm saying. But if anybody's going to build this thing, please, I need two of them, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't mind you using the design. I'll even give you the sketches, is what I'm trying to get at. But I need two of them, is what I'm trying to say. And but it will speed up like geothermal well. We could power the earth with this idea. Just enough of these drilling geothermal wells, with geothermal power plants all around the world. Where geothermal is not accessible now because of depth, this would make it accessible. It's that simple. Matter of fact, I need a few of these things, not just two. I need a few, several, a dozen is what I'm trying to get at, 2 dozen, to create this carbon sequestering vault that we were talking about in the basalt. Yeah. What else to say about it? Yeah, I wouldn't care to share it, but you got to come up. You got to have like proof. You got to be like the manufacturers of these things, not just somebody curious. I'm sorry, y'all. The curious people of the world that just like to call for curious sake have worn me out. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody anytime anymore. Not even the necessary people I need to contact for these ideas in this project. I'm just burned out. I'm burned out of I'll give you 5%. I'll step in and give you the last 20 for the title to the car. I'll buy you a tank of gas if you'll give it to me. That kind of bullshit. Just the utter ignorance of what they talk. It is just beyond me, is what I'm trying to get at. Now, I'll give you $15 an hour if you got a master's degree. Just stupid people. They're exhausted. That's just what it comes down to. And as far as like people like Elon Musk, where they're ultra rich, he's just ultra stupid and greedy. He's not overly bright. I pitched the same idea to him, more than a decade ago, like almost 2 decades ago. Did he come up with the idea himself, or did he do the workaround? No. And really all it is just a little bit of engineering. In a new way to look at it. But see, that's what a lot of people do. They can't look at anything new if they don't see an example of how it works. Like if they know exactly how that pin controller works, well, hell, they're a genius. They can knock it off and make 3 dozen pin controllers, like a couple percentage difference from each one of these. And they just think they're the innovative genius of the world. But when somebody says, well, can you do this, and it's brand new, and they go, oh, no, that can't be done. Well, no, it just means it can't be done by you. It can be done. And there's nothing that's impossible. Some things just cost more. That's all. My dad used to say that. Nothing's Nothing's impossible. Some things just cost more. Um, but yeah, that's where we're at. To get past that 10,000, the idea works at like 7,000. So we're plenty in the workable part of this. But to get to the where we need to be, like to power the world with geothermal, that's where they make going through basalt, an extremely abrasive material, easier because they just turn it to smoke, and then you're just dealing with the abrasive smoke. But it's easier to deal with than the abrasive particle. Um, and when it comes to deep, like, granite or the rest, well, this thing just goes straight through it. It'd be a laser lance, is what it is, a probe, a laser probe. Um, the stem itself is the laser all the way down. Each joint that's what I'm saying, this would all be one-off stuff. Each joint would have to have location pins to where it can't be assembled any other way except one way. And then locked together, tightened, and to make contact for the fiber optics that would run the full length of the stem. And the stem is basically, it protects the laser down the length of the hole. It kind of like if conventional drilling in sci-fi had a love child. That's basically what I'm talking about. And then just burning a hole straight into the earth and blowing the smoke away. Um, but and even that can be caught, captured, recycled, um, you know, the whole bit. But other than that, that's where I'm at. Um, I know, I got people that ask or whatever, and and I'm not trying to dog on nobody. If we talk routinely or whatever, I'm not talking about you. Um, I'm talking about the one-off people, that just think they're gonna cut a new rug or whatever like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, the carbon vault thing is definitely not a sci-fi aspect. But we are pushing our limit when we get to about 10,000 feet. But like I said, it works like at 7,000, so we're good there. The We just need to go deeper, is what it comes down to. And the geothermal people that need to power the planet with clean, renewable energy forever for the length of lifetime, that just is the same rig. And y'all be welcome to use it, is what I'm trying to get at. I just need like a couple dozen of these things to make this carbon project work. Um, and then you knock yourself out. Um, because that's all power in the world would be, is just enough geothermal wells. And the Earth has plenty. Um, the Earth has plenty. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Um, oh, yeah. Let me bump up on some of this stuff. If you're off grid and you need ways to do stuff, great. This heating pad here, I can probably leave the link in the description below. It uses about 20 watts on max. On low, it's like 10 or less or whatever like that. I was using all my little kilowatt meters to test it. And the first time I used it was so little that I used it on the second and the third kilowatt before I realized that it was just not using any power. And by then the blanket was getting warm. And that's the heating pad. It folds out pretty big. But the blanket down here is just a throw because my legs get cold. And but at low it's like 10 watts, 20 watts. At high it's maybe 70 watts or something like that. Totally doable for the power that I have now is what I'm trying to get at. Totally doable. The bag, these are though they're not mummy bags, they're the flat ones. They lay flat, but they're 40 below, so they're like a mummy bag. They're just not in that shape. And you can put the right and the left together and zip them up and make one big bag. That's what that is. And I even splurged. I've been using a piece of foam from an RV for a bed for over a decade, for more than a decade. Um, And finally, I broke down because my back is starting to hurt just from being in the chair. I know, yeah, whine, bitch, and complain. That's all I ever do. Snivel, yeah, snivel, bitch, snivel. Uh, but my back is starting to get a little bit more tender the longer that this is progressing in the wheelchair, being folded up. Hence the heating pad, hence the blanket for my cold ass legs. And so I knuckled down, and I've been looking for a mattress for a while, but all this extra stuff has me like baffled. So I never bought one. And then finally I just broke down and said, okay, enough's enough. And I got one that's like a quilted something or another, and a pillow something or another, and it has memory somethings, and it has cool gel something, and it has intercoil something or another's, and it has foundation something or another, all that, with a 3-year warranty, and I can give it back if I don't like it, kind of deal. So works for me, and it didn't cost like big money. My daughter, I told my daughter about it, and she goes, "I got this one." And hers was like $1,700 for this mattress. It was like, wow, okay, that's not what mine cost. I promise you. I promise you, that's not what mine cost. All of it together probably didn't cost 500. Yeah, but I'm not. If you got money when you're young, spend that shit. Enjoy it. Enjoy every day of your life. Don't ever hold back. Don't ever. Well, I'm not saying don't plan for a bad day, because those things happen. Do that first and foremost. But once you plan for your bad day, and once you're out ahead a little bit, enjoy that shit as much as you can. Yeah, just like that rig. You know, everything's possible. Some things just take a little bit more money. Nothing is free. Everything has a price or has a cost, and numbers don't lie. These are things I learned. Oh, we're making power now. These are things I've learned from my dad over life, and I realize that they're true. When I was young, I was a little bit crazy, baffled, didn't really give a shit. But the longer you go in life, the farther there's some things that are just inherently true, and those things are inherently true. Um, just kind of like being out here. The wind has been horrible. My sinus has been crazy, but I'd still rather be here where it's dry than anywhere else in the mud in a wheelchair. This is like the limit that I can take to how much bullshit and drama you can deal with on a daily basis. Um, yeah, like the little kid poking something with a stick. How much torture can you take? This is my limit right here, y'all. Um, but but yeah, I know I'm just sniveling. Um, but I'll let you go. I hope you all had a good day, and I hope you all have a good day, and and I hope everything works out well. That's all I know. And I got a couple friends out there that play the lottery, and I pray everybody wins, not on the same day, but I pray everybody wins. I just don't do that kind of stuff. I probably need to. I'd probably get just as much accomplished if I did that as doing the other silly shit that I do. But until I do, I'll keep dreaming up new ways to fix the terrarium. That's all we can do, y'all. We just get to fix the terrarium. We only had one job, and man, did we screw this shit up. Um, all we were supposed to do is tend the garden. All right, talk to you then. Bye.